Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM, and it's time now for another episode of Lawrie Goes Loco. This week we're doing something a little bit different. In fact, I'm not sure if what we're actually driving fully qualifies as a locomotive. It is a rail vehicle and I am going to drive it. But we're also going to do something a bit more. We're going to give you a bit more of a view and experience of the very scenic Talyllyn Railway. This is Toby, and she is technically not a locomotive, despite the fact that it actually doesn't look like a locomotive at all. It looks basically like a guards van, and kind of, that's not too far away what it is. It is a motorised trolley, or an inspection trolley. It's a home-built creation, built in 1954 by Mr. John Bate, but not here at the railway, no. This was built in his parents' garage in Reigate. Built for the railway, so it's actually quite an early new build vehicle for the railway, and it was very much designed just to trundle up on the line to do inspections and to transport people and equipment. This thing has been through several modifications during its lifetime. Most notably, when it was first built, it didn't have the roof. In fact, on the other side, there was nothing. There was just a guardrail, a bench and a guardrail, which frankly must have been absolutely terrifying. I can't imagine much that would be more scary than hurtling along 2'3" gauge track with nothing in front of you. I mean, this thing has no suspension. It would be quite an interesting experience, and I would be very grateful for the fact it's got walls. It just makes it feel a bit more solid. I mean, looking at the thing though, it does look rather cute, doesn't it? It's got this very strange look to it. As I said, it almost looks like an item of rolling stock. It very much looks like, from this angle at least, that it shouldn't be motorised. But it is. The most notable things that's happened to this throughout its lifetime is this has changed a lot. This is the engine. We've got the radiator here behind the grille. Originally, it was the engine and a gearbox out of an Austin 7, which was quite good. It was a car engine, a donor that went in to make this motorised trolley. And later on, this became an Austin A series engine and the gearbox out of a Moggy Minor, because the Austin 7 engine was worn out just from sheer amount of use. I mean, it was a donor to start off with, but the sheer amount of use this thing got, it got worn out. Now, the gearbox didn't enjoy being part of this and basically got destroyed. In the 1990s, it got rebuilt again and the engine was changed again, this time for a Ford 1.8 litre diesel and the gearbox out of a dumper. It survived in this configuration until 2018, where the whole thing got a big rebuild, because as you can tell, it's all in rather good nick, because it is, at this point of filming, only 2 years old. It was a major rebuild carried out by Grey Bar engineers, and at the time they swapped the engine for what it's got now, which is a Lister 3-cylinder which generates 30 horsepower. Now, this unit and the gearbox mean that it will quite happily do the line speed here of 15 miles an hour. In its current configuration, the drive comes off the gearbox there, and we've got a chain underneath this shroud here which runs to both the rear and the front axle. Originally, it had a braked axle and a driven axle, but when it was rebuilt, they decided that giving it four-wheel drive would be a slightly better way to operate. This thing has then operated its entire life on this railway. It is a purpose-built machine for this railway and lives here and works here. Now, despite its somewhat light and sparse proportions, it weighs about 1.5 tons, which I'm not really sure where it gets that weight from, because there is quite literally nothing to it. Now, other duties as well that this thing's had, as well as being the inspection vehicle, the I need to get up there to do something, so they all trundle up the line with strimmers, chainsaws, and whatever else is needed to go do little jobs. And it gets to lots of parts of the railway that you can't get to by road, which makes it an exceedingly useful tool. But it's also been used as a fire trolley, hauling one wagon equipped with sand and water during the hot summers. It hasn't done this for a few years, but previous hot summers, it's gone up after the line after a line-side fire has been discovered. Meaning it's been a really important part of the railway in keeping the railway going and the nature around here safe. It is a very, very strange thing. In fact, it's a remarkably strange little thing. So you may be wondering, why is it named Toby? You might have also noticed it shares a somewhat similar resemblance to a certain character from a certain book series that had a kind of square, boxy shape. Yeah, he got given that nickname, and one day somebody stenciled on the side, Toby, and the name stuck. So now officially, it's Toby. So other things that this has had during its rebuild is this rather nice seat. Now this is a replica of the original seat that it had. Remember I said earlier, it didn't have this frontage here, so there was just a rail and you sat grasping onto this, fearing for your very life. It is, however, been modified and brought up to modern standards of comfort by adding this nice leather seat, which came second-hand for 50 pennies. The most useful thing about this is there's a catch here. You lift it up and you can store all kinds of gubbins in here. Things like face shields, jumper cables. There's even a tea mug in there. This is all part of this thing's role as a support vehicle. You can put lots of bits that you need for going up the line. In fact, this thing's had things like strimmers, chainsaws, all kinds of gubbins on it. It is an exceptionally useful little thing. There's been lots of other things done to it during its time here to make it a bit more pleasant. For instance, it's got these nice big black plastic stick-on noise-absorbing thingies. And they're on the roof as well. And apparently they make it a lot more pleasant and stop the whole thing shaking around like a massive tambourine, I suppose. Without it, apparently, it was quite, well, rattly. And with it, big difference. The other thing it's got are these here. We have little clips here and here. And these come down. Now, you might have realised during this video that we're in Wales. And that without these, this thing has no sides whatsoever and could best be described in unpleasant weather as very grim. These weather sheets will give you some more protection. Of course, the small problem is that you then can't see out of anything, but yeah, it's beside the point. It will rather help things. Oh, just looking at this and thinking of operating this in the wet makes me feel cold. So with that done, let's go and have a look inside the cab. It's all kind of inside the cab. There isn't really a separate, I suppose this could be first class and this is the cab. Don't know, that's first class. This is the driving area, the operator's area. This is the flight deck. From your seating position here, you have a good view forward and reverse. Now the controls are very unloco-ish because they have come from a road-going vehicle. So down here we have a clutch pedal. Next door to it, down there, we have an accelerator pedal, which is quite strange and not what you expect. In the middle here, we have a handbrake, and that is the sole form of brakes. In the middle here, we have a very modern looking and swanky fuel gauge. Next door to that, we have a cold start button for the diesel, and down there is a horn. We also have a toggle switch for the lights front and rear, which is very useful, and two indicators, basically if the battery's not charging, the yellow light for oil pressure warning. So everything, when you turn the key, comes on as test. It's also very cleverly backlit for the fuel gauge, so you can see how much fuel you've got even in the dark. Moving this way, we have a gearbox with a gear stick attached, which is interesting. Now reverse has been blanked off, so there's nothing up here, but I've got first, second, and third gears, which apparently are fairly easy to go in and no problems whatsoever, especially when changing down. That presents absolutely no problems at all. You also have a very ingenious system here for reversing the gearbox. Because we haven't got reverse anymore, there's this. So we push that forward, pushing a little knuckle in there for reverse, put it back out, push it across, and push the other one in for forwards. Now the way that this is set up means that one way is faster than the other, but I'm not entirely sure which way. And that is quite literally all there is to this. The one gauge is for fuel, and everything else is basically nicked off a car. So let's see what there is to actually prep, and let's go take it out and explore the Talyllyn. The first thing we do is just check the tightness of the chain and to make sure they're not likely to fly off as we're going along the line. Next, we get back up and we check the gearbox oil, which is this. We pull it out and confirm that it is full of that liquid wet stuff. And it is, so that's glorious. If it isn't, we need to fill it up. Then we dive into the cab, the flight deck even. The oil for the engine is at a convenient place that only the driver can access it. which is there. We also confirmed that that has also got the wet stuff on it. In actual fact, that looks like it could do with some more, so we shall top that up before we go out. And we place that back like that. The last thing to do involves moving a bit deeper into the cab, opening this very nice flap up, taking the top of the radiator, and seeing if there's any water in there. There is! That's a success. So with this very complicated and involved prep procedure performed, I can sit back down, put my foot on the clutch, turn over the key and go. Let's go out and explore the Talyllyn. Well, the first thing we'll take from this is it is rather noisy. In fact, it is excessively noisy. Whether or not you'll be able to hear me, I have no idea. With the engine purring away, we were given permission to head on up the line, travelling over the sections that I'd previously driven on in previous videos. And with that, we headed off into the unknown, where scenery just kept on getting better. We're going right up the line here on the Talyllyn. So that means we actually need to change the token over. So we're going to slow down and roll to a stop here, go to the signal box, exchange the token, and head further up the railway. So that's going to be quite good fun. Pull up next to the signal box, and me and Steve here got to go get the token. Does help if you remember the token. We're going for a run.
Quite exciting, bring glass.
Right, let's go further up the line. So now we've got the token and we're heading out onto the railway. We're going to try something which is a gear change. So here is a little bit of a challenge. So, revs up, clutch in. That's easy, I don't know what they're talking about. Easy. This is absolutely superb. The Talyllyn Railway is an absolutely gorgeous railway. It is absolutely stunning. And I cannot think of a better way to explore it than on this trolley. There are no sides. I can see all of the view in panoramic vision. It is absolutely incredible. But the one thing we will go for, it is quite cold, the lack of sides very much being a part of that. But no complaints there, because it's worth it to just experience it. It is a rare day in Wales, for at the moment it is not raining. And we are having a proper explore of this historic railway. And to see it first hand like this is absolutely incredible. We follow this ledge through the Welsh mountains, clean to the mountainside. It really is just, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Now, this railway is well worth visiting and coming for a ride to see the scenery and experience little steam engines working their way up through the hills. But to actually drive it with this view, it's magnificent. a bit more about the thing I'm on now. It's strange. My most major thought is I should have a steering wheel. Currently we're in third gear, just trundling up at 9 speed. And because the pedals are like a car, because of course this was based on a road-going vehicle originally converted, I want to be sat here with a steering wheel. Because I've got the gear stick here as well. This feels like it should be a left-hand drive car. If I use the handbrake, I feel like just right. But looking ahead, my God, it's absolutely incredible. It's absolutely unbelievably pretty coming up here. But wow. This is the most amazing railway trip I've ever had the pleasure to do, just because of this. Going away from the view and not looking at this broad chopping view and the way the railway's now winding its way through the hillside. This is the railway dreams are made of, winding through here. When I dream of railways and driving on narrow gauge, this is what I see. When I dream of my own private railway, this is exactly the type of railway I would love to own and just operate and drive daily, because this is just, it's spellbindingly gorgeous. Absolutely. But moving away from that to what's this little thing actually like? Fantastic. The throttle is fantastic. If I just dump the throttle, we launch forward. Oh my God, we're going to the bridge. We're going up to the viaduct. Oh, this is amazing. Absolutely. Over the top of the village down there. Oh wow. Oh, this is special. We'll slow right down to enjoy this. As we go over the top of the viaduct, over the top of the river. Wow. That is special, the view down there, and that's so iconic, the viaduct and the falls there. Yeah, going back to this thing though, now we've got away from the tiny thing. Come up to the hole here where the water's running. So we're going to see what the brake's like. So rapid brake application on the handbrake. Wow. It stops rapidly. You've got to be very careful with the brakes though, not to lock it up, because it's so light. So very, very light, but it's easy just to lock on and you'll stop, just slide along. That's that one. Other things I quite like, you feel every bump, every joint in the track, and every vibration, every revolution of this engine, you feel through your buttocks. It's a nice padded seat, but there is nothing in the way of suspension. It's a very much, very bare, real experience of, well, I know everything that we're going under. It's kind of drive by the seat of your pants feel. Wow. Now visibility, obviously, if I crouch forward a little bit, just to peer around the corner, wonderfully big front window, wonderfully big rear window. And then all this space around the side. There is very little realistically that I can't see up here. It's fantastic looking around, seeing everything. It will pull some stuff, this thing. They might have to have a trolley behind it for P-way work. But this is just the best way to see the railway. And of course we've got this lovely horn, which makes me very, very happy indeed. So we got thundering round here. The weather has been so kind to us to be seeing this in the sun. What an absolutely stunning day on a stunning railway with such an amazingly fun little locomotive. It is just another whistle. It's great. great. It's so easy to drive. And just, a proper rail speeder. It's a proper amazing way to experience the railway. And what an honour to be able to drive this much up the line. It is. Wow. And the scenery just keeps on getting better. It's just mental. So guys, that completes this look at running up the Talyllyn Railway, which has been an absolutely magnificent experience, and I have absolutely loved it. It is a stunning railway, and to take it from the footplate of this thing, wow, that's amazing. This thing is just built for going and looking at it. And as you might be able to tell, it started to get a bit windy, so we're going back, or we were, because I feel like the best thing to do now is to go back up again and have another bash at appreciating this railway. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Certainly, as you probably can tell, I have had an absolute whale of a time here in Wales. Ba-boom, tsh. That was good, I enjoyed that. But seriously guys, we really hope you've enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, share this video with your railway friends, and leave a comment. Let us know how much you've enjoyed seeing this thing and seeing a view of the Talyllyn Railway. And of course, a absolutely massive thank you to the Talyllyn Railway for allowing us to come along and take out Toby and have just a trundle up the line. It has been an absolutely fantastic experience, so thank you so very much. And also, just a personal shout out to Kez and Steve for being so very kind to us and helping to organise it. Thanks guys, you are awesome. And indeed, if you like what you've seen in this video, have a look on the Talyllyn's website for more information on the locomotives, the routes and when they're open. And if you really like it and you think, wow, I want to get involved in that, there's the email also in the video description to be able to drop them a line and say, hi, how do I get involved and help the railway? And if you want to kind of be part of the track gangs and learn how to drive this and take it out to fix things, brilliant. And if you want to experience the same kind of thing that I've done today and see the railway from the footplate, the Talyllyn offers a driver experience course, and the details how to book that are in the video description as well. And I highly, highly recommend it. It is a stunning railway and it is just, oh, so much better from the footplate. So that's it guys. It has been a pleasure to drive this, a real pioneer in preservation, one of the earliest things built for a preservation railway like this. So it's been wonderful. So if you've enjoyed this kind of video, how about clicking over here for Dolgok that we did here at the Talyllyn Railway, or below it, another little diesel that we've done elsewhere. Something a bit similar, but totally different. We'll see you later guys.
Bye.